Ada lived in the beautiful city of Onitsha, where the streets never slept, and traders hustled every day to make a living. Ada was a beautiful, strong Igbo woman in her late 20s. She was married to Emeka, a handsome man known for his charm and quick wit. Emeka was a big-time trader who sold electronics in the famous Onitsha main market. Ada loved her husband dearly, but she had one big problem: Emeka was a cheater. Ada discovered Emeka's bad habits not long after they got married. At first, she cried herself to sleep, wondering what she had done wrong. But Ada was no fool. She knew that crying wouldn't solve her problem. She decided to fight for her marriage, but not with shouting or violence. Instead, she used wisdom and patience. And that is how her journey to keeping her man began. Ada remembered something her mother had told her: the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Emeka loved food, and Ada made sure she cooked his favorite meals every day. She woke up early every morning to prepare steaming hot yam porridge with uziza leaves, fresh fish pepper soup, or oha soup with pounded yam. She also made sure the kitchen smelled inviting when Emeka returned from the market. One evening, after a long day at work, Emeka walked into the house and inhaled the aroma of Ada's special nkwobi. His stomach growled loudly, and he couldn't resist smiling. "Ada, my wife, this smells like heaven," Emeka said, sitting down eagerly to eat. Ada served him with a warm smile. "Anything for my darling husband," she replied sweetly. She watched as he devoured the meal, his face filled with satisfaction. Ada knew she had scored a point. Ada also understood that men are attracted by what they see. She didn't allow herself to look shabby, even at home. She invested in good clothes, perfumes, and makeup. Every time Emeka came back home, Ada looked like she had just stepped out of a magazine. Her skin glowed, and her wrappers were always tied perfectly. One day, Emeka's friend, Obi, came to visit them. As Obi greeted Ada, he turned to Emeka and said, "My brother, your wife is too fine. Oh. Are you sure you can handle her?" Emeka laughed, but Ada noticed the proud look on his face. She had reminded him that she was a prize. Ada knew that surprises could keep the spark alive in their marriage. On Emeka's birthday, she planned a small surprise party. She invited his close friends and made sure there was plenty of food, drinks, and music. Emeka walked into the house and saw the decorations, the cake, and the smiling faces of his friends. "Wow, Ada! You did all this for me?" Emeka asked, his voice filled with surprise. "Of course, my love. You deserve it," Ada replied, kissing him on the cheek. That night, as they lay in bed, Emeka held Ada tightly and whispered, "Thank you, my wife. You are one in a million." Despite all her efforts, Ada was not blind to the fact that Emeka still had wandering eyes. She decided to keep a close watch on him, but she did it cleverly. Ada befriended some of the women in the market who worked near Emeka's shop. She also got close to his apprentice, Chidi. "Chidi, how is your Oga these days?" Ada would ask casually whenever she visited the shop. "Oga is fine, Ma. He has been working hard," Chidi would reply. But if there was anything suspicious, Chidi would hesitate, and Ada's sharp eyes would catch it. One day, one of the women in the market hinted that Emeka had been seen talking to a young girl who sold recharge cards. Ada didn't confront Emeka immediately. Instead, she decided to act smart. Ada waited for the right moment. One evening, as they sat down to eat, she said, "Emeka, Do you know the girl who sells recharge cards near your shop? Emeka's hand froze midway to his mouth. Why do you ask? He said cautiously. Oh, nothing, Ada replied, smiling. I just heard she's very beautiful. Some people say she's your new friend. Emeka cleared his throat nervously. People like to gossip too much, he said, avoiding her gaze. Ada didn't push further, but her point was made. Emeka became more careful, knowing that Ada was watching. Ada believed in the power of prayer. Every morning and night, she knelt down and prayed for her husband. God, touch Emeka's heart. Make him a faithful man, she would say. She also attended church regularly and joined the women's fellowship, where they prayed for their families. One Sunday, the pastor preached about the dangers of infidelity. Emeka sat beside Ada in church, looking uncomfortable. After the service, Ada held his hand and said, "My love, I pray for you every day. I want us to have a happy home." Emeka looked at her, guilt written all over his face. "Thank you, Ada. I will try to be a better man," he said sincerely. Months passed, and Ada's efforts began to pay off. Emeka started coming home earlier and spending more time with his family. He even stopped sneaking off to answer phone calls. One day, he came home with a big smile and handed Ada a box. "What is this?" Ada asked, surprised. "Open it," Emeka said. Ada opened the box to find a beautiful lace fabric and a pair of gold earrings. "Thank you, my husband. These are beautiful," Ada said, hugging him tightly. "You deserve it, my queen," Emeka replied. "Thank you for standing by me. I promise to make you proud." Ada's patience, wisdom, and prayers changed her marriage. Emeka became a better husband, and their love grew stronger. Ada's story became an inspiration to other women in Onitsha. They admired her strength and often came to her for advice. Ada always told them the same thing: marriage is not easy, but with love, patience, and God, you can overcome anything. And so, Ada and Emeka lived happily ever after, proving that even in a big, noisy city like Onitsha, love and wisdom could conquer all.